Yes, you're good to go.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience. It's 2:12 p.m., and we will call this meeting to order. Our first order of business is the election of the chairperson for the 2021 term of the Committee of Adjustment. I'd like to open the floor for nominations, please.
I'll elect Scott Jibb.
Mark
I'll
is
second
elected.
that.
Mark and Pat are nominating Scott. Do I have any other nominations? For a second time, another nomination. For a third and final time, another nomination. Hearing none. Mr. Jibb, do you wish to stand?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Therefore, be it moved by Member Lovshin and seconded by Member McCourt that Scott Jibb is the chairperson for the 2021 term of office. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. I'll bounce into item 222, election of a deputy chairperson. Entertain a motion, please.
I'll nominate Mark Lovshin.
Moved by Pat McCourt, seconded by,
I'll second this guy. You can't see me. I also got my hand up.
seconded by Bill Kane. Any further nominations? Third and final time, any further nominations? Mr. Lovshin, do you wish to stand for that position?
The job was so tough the last year, maybe. No, I'll do it. That's fine.
Thank you, Mark. I should say that this is my first attempt to chair a Zoom meeting. And as some of you heard, I do have a pet in the house, which could cause grief. My apologies for that if that occurs. Item 2.3, appointment of a secretary treasurer to the Committee of Adjustment. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll
I
move
nominate,
that. Oh, go ahead, Larry.
I nominate Sandra.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Larry. Seconded by Mark. Any further discussion? I believe we, at this point in time, we say all in favor.
Don't you have to ask if she wants to do it or not?
Well,
I'm
no,
not
I
elected,
think I
I'm
asked her.
appointed.
Moving on to 2.4, appointment of a deputy secretary treasurer. Nomination, please. This has been Kate Serreris in the recent past.
I'll nominate Kate then.
Thank you,
And
Mark.
Larry, I'll second it.
You got that, Sandra?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all those in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Sandra, this comes back to you. Point 3, the explanation of the process of the hearing to the public.
Yes, thank you very much. And I've lost my paper. Anyway, as you have announced, this is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment. We will hear consent applications. We often hear minor variance applications at the same time. The staff report will be given along with the recommendation. A copy of the staff report is available on the website, should anybody wish to review that. Following the staff report, the floor will be open to questions and comments from the public. The order of speaking is as follows: those persons in support of the application, those persons in opposition to the application, and those persons seeking clarification. The applicant will, of course, have opportunity to speak to the application as necessary. The Committee of Adjustment will ask questions and make comments as they deem necessary. They will entertain a motion for a decision this afternoon. Following the decision, there is a 20-day appeal period. If you wish to be notified of the decision, you must ask for that in writing to myself, the Secretary Treasurer. You can drop a note off in our drop box to the left of the front door of the municipal building, or you may send me an email. My email information has been circulated and is also on the township website. If you do not request a copy of the decision, you will not be receiving a copy of the decision. I believe that, when making a decision, the committee will give their reasons for their decision, and they will also indicate how public input has impacted their decision making. I believe that was everything. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mike's off, Scott.
Thanks, Pat. I move forward to confirmation of the agenda, please. It's been circulated.
I'll move. Bill?
I'll second, Pat.
All those in favor?
Bill, yay.
Yay, yay, Larry, yay.
Are there any declaration of pecuniary interests or general nature thereof?
Larry, no.
Hearing none, we shall document that. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, dated October 13th, 2020.
Pat, I'll move for approval.
Mark, I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Larry, yay.
Thank you. Passed. Similarly, the minutes of the December 8th meeting, 2020. Mover and a seconder, please.
I'll
Larry,
move for approval.
I think that was Larry and Pat in that order, Sandra.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Larry, yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Sandra, you got that again?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Business arising from the previous minutes. Sandra, I'll turn this over to you. It's dealing with the notice of appeal for application B07-20 in the Milson name on Stu Black Road.
Yes, thank you. We have received one notice of appeal from Mr. Let me get the name correct. Beg your pardon. Schmidt. He is a neighbor on Stu Black Road. I will be going through the information that is required from the tribunal, the local planning area tribunal, and providing all the information that they require. This will be forwarded to them by the end of next week, and then the tribunal will more than likely attempt some mediation, because that's what we would be asking for. And following that, the tribunal will set a meeting date for a hearing de novo, a new meeting. So the applicant, the Milsons, will need to submit their proposal again to the board. The board will hear everything they have to say. They will hear everything the neighbors have to say, and the board will make the final decision. Following that decision, there's no appeal period. That will be in force and effect. And any conditions that should be imposed, the tribunal will be reimposing what we have suggested. It is the policy of the township that because the township has granted provisional consent and that has been appealed, then it is up to the applicant to provide his own legal and or planning consultants as he deems necessary. He does have the right to use township personnel, our consulting firms, our legal firm, provided he enters into an expense agreement accordingly. But the township does not usually go back and support a positive decision. If it was a negative decision on our part, then we would be supporting our negative decision. But we've done everything we could for the Milsons, and it's now between them, the appellant, and the tribunal.
Anything further, Sandra?
I can't think of anything, but if anybody has any questions.
I have one actually, Sandra. Just as you said who the appeal was from, I didn't catch it.
Schmidt.
Yeah,
It's from Robert and Leanne Schmidt, SCHMIDT.
And do you have their address there by chance?
I can look that up. Oh, yes, it is 3057 Stu Black Road.
Thank you. The other committee members have questions? Mark, I see your hand, please.
yeah, just a question on the timing and so forth of this, Sandra, with the COVID, and is this, when will this, any ideas to what the time is to get this done? Like
No, I don't have any timing information. When the Ontario Municipal Board was changed to the Local Planning Area Tribunal, it was the intent of the tribunal to speed things up as much as they could.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be 6-8 months delays between our decision and the board hearing. That being said, COVID happened, and I do not know how backlogged the tribunal is. We have not had an appeal of a decision since the tribunal became the appealing body. So I don't have any background on a tribunal at all. But they will let us know as soon as possible when they can do something.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to new business. We do have an application, actually two applications, being B16 and B17-20 in the Bowman family name, located at 8176 Jib Road in Camborne. We will be in a moment hearing from our planning technician in describing the application, at which time I will go to the public. Because of my limitations on Zoom, if there's anyone on Zoom that wishes to be in support or in opposition to the application, please speak up, or if there's a committee member see that as well, please call out to me. Thank you. Sandra, can I turn it back to you, please, for the application information?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Upon finalizing the report to the committee, it was realized that the proposal does not fit into the available area. So at this point, the applicant has requested that we speak to application B1720, the eastern lot, and he will revise his proposal for the western lot. And more information will be circulated for another public meeting at a later date regarding B16. It's the opinion of this department the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the planning documents and would be appropriate development for the area. The notice of public meeting was circulated on December 22nd, 2020. The signs were posted on the property on December 23rd, 2020 in accordance with the Planning Act. Application B17 is seeking to consent 0.55 hectares, 1.38 acres, with 68.88 meters, 226 feet of road frontage on Jib Road for urban residential use. The property is within the Camborne settlement area of the township. The proposal is in keeping with the provincial policy statement of 2005 as amended in 2020. With respect to the township official plan, bylaw 2003-51 as amended by bylaw 2010-24, property is within the Camborne settlement area. A maximum of 4 lots can be created from the benchmark date of 2003. various applications were reviewed in the past since 2003, but only one new lot was granted. Therefore, there's an opportunity for a maximum of 3 more lots. The application right here, right now, today is only for one of those 3. The review of the previous files noted drainage issues, waters on the lot, and slope of the lands as matters to be addressed. However, what is before committee today is very different than what was before committee 15 years ago. So there are some of these issues that have already been addressed and or will be addressed at time of development. With respect to general development policies, the new lot will meet the minimum requirements of the urban residential first density zone and will need to be rezoned from the marginal agricultural zone that is on the land right now. The retained parcel will have broken frontage, 140 feet in one spot and 322 feet in another spot. It's supposed to have just under 200 feet of road frontage in the marginal agricultural zone. The definition of frontage in the zoning bylaw is the smaller of the two, so the 140 feet does not meet the minimum requirements, but this can be addressed in the required zoning amendment. It shouldn't come up as a problem. Cash in lieu of parkland will be one of the recommended conditions. And again, this is the second parcel being severed from the parent lot since 2003. The parent property does have a small portion of it within the Camborne wellhead protection area, and commercial and industrial uses are discouraged within the protection area. The proposed new lot is approximately 100 meters away from the area, and there are 2 lots between the proposed new lot, the protection area, and there's also a number of other residential lots within the wellhead protection area. So the proposal does appear to be in keeping with the policies of the Township Official Plan. With respect to zoning bylaw 2001-58 as amended, the parent lands are zoned marginal agricultural, which require just under 5 acres and just under 200 feet of road frontage. The proposed new lot will meet or exceed the urban residential first density zone requirements, and the retained lot will have a decreased frontage, but this can be addressed in the required zoning bylaw. Otherwise, it's the opinion of this department the proposal is in keeping with the township zoning bylaw. Agency comments. The building department offered no objection. Hydro One offered no objection. County of Northumberland, they note stormwater management. Development must be consistent with the province's requirements to mitigate risks to human health, safety, property, and the environment, maximize the extent and function of vegetative and pervious surfaces, and promote stormwater management and best practices, including stormwater attenuation and reuse, water conservation and efficiency, and low-impact development. The applicant should undertake consultation with the appropriate conservation authority regarding stormwater management. But in summary, the county and provincial policies support creation of residential uses, and the county inspection for private sanitary septic system had no concerns regarding this lot. Township Public Works had no objections to the severances. And the Conservation Authority, since authoring the report, I did receive a more comprehensive letter from the Conservation Authority. They say the subject property is partially located within a regulated area. A permit may be required from the GRCA for any future grading or construction works in this area. The subject property is traversed by a water course tributary to Colbert Creek. Any alteration to the water course requires permit issued by the GRCA. The subject property is located partially within a regulatory storm floodplain. A permit is required from the GRCA for any development activity in the area. A portion of the retained lands are located within the wellhead protection area of the Camborne Municipal Drinking Water System. A notice of restricted land use under the Clean Water Act will apply to these lands if granted. The proposed severed lands are located outside the hazards noted above. On the basis GRCA has no objection to the approval of consent B17, these parcels are within a regulated area, and therefore any development proposed will require a permit from the authority. A copy of this letter will be sent to the Bowmans for their records. Also, since authoring the report, I have received an email from Brad Sisler, S-I-S-L-E-R. His address is 8196 Jib Road. Greetings. In regards to the consent to sever application on Jib Road, I have no objections. However, I am concerned about the stormwater management plan for the lot. Hopefully there is a good drainage plan to ensure the existing homes are not impacted. Again, I am making no objections and look forward to welcoming new neighbors. I've also received some emailed photographs and diagrams from Jordan Hogendam. He is one of the people who will be seeking information or asking questions of the committee of the applicant. I believe these diagrams were emailed to the committee earlier today. Upon review of the application in relation to the provincial policy statement, township official plan and zoning bylaw, and the comments received from the outside agencies, it's the opinion of this department that application B 1720 would meet the intent of the planning documents for consent. Should the committee grant the application, it's recommended the following conditions be imposed on B 1720. The applicant shall submit 3 full-sized hard copies, a PDF copy, and an AutoCAD copy of a deposited reference plan identifying the newly created lot. The applicant shall pursue the successful completion of a Planning Act application rezoning 1, the proposed lot for urban residential first density uses, and 2, the retained lot recognizing the resulting reduced lot frontage of 140 feet. 3, the applicant shall provide proof of payment of park levy of $1,500 per new lot created. 4, the applicant shall provide proof of payment in full of all current and outstanding taxes. And 5, the applicant shall provide 3 hard copies of new deeds within 1 year to be stamped, suitable for stamping by the Secretary Treasurer. The stamping of the deed shall conclude that all the above noted conditions have been fulfilled. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Sandra. We will now turn to the floor and provide the public an opportunity to have an opportunity to speak here. I do see that our agent, Larry Bowman, is here. Larry, we obviously record that you're in support of the application, but as the agent, you will have an opportunity in a moment or two to speak to anything that arises from the public. If it's okay with yourself, I'll just set you aside and go through the process, providing you that opportunity in a few minutes.
Sure.
Thank you, Larry. I'll simply ask, and again, I acknowledge that this is my first attempt at chairing a Zoom meeting, so please help me here with my fellow committee members. Is there anyone here, other than the applicant being Mr. Bowman, in support of the application? And when you respond, please state your name for us as well.
I'm here. I'm in support. My name is Chantal Watt, and I live on Jib Road.
I'm
Could I
sorry,
have your full
Chantal.
address, please, Ms. Watt?
Yep, it's 8144 Jib.
Thank you.
And I am Erica Ferguson, and I am in support of the new lots, and I live at 8132 Jib.
Thank you.
To Chantal Watt, is there anything in addition that you would like to say other than what you have already?
Nope, not at this time.
Thank you. Erica, is there anything in addition to what you've already said that you would like to speak to?
No, thank you.
Okay. I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone else here in support of the application? Seeing none, I'll move on. Is there any of the public here in opposition to the application? I'm hearing none. Is anyone seeing anyone in that position? Thank you, Bill. Is there anyone here seeking clarification on the application?
I am. I don't know if you can hear me all right.
I can hear someone, but I don't know who it is. Sorry.
Hi, sorry, it's Jordan Hogendam. I'm here with my wife, Katie. We live at 3507 Alberts Alley, so just around the corner from the proposed severance. And there were some questions that we had regarding the application. And so if we could go through those, if that's all right. I did send some attachments through earlier in the week, and hopefully you've received those. I guess just by way of background, I'm here, I guess, I mean, in part with this application, but it speaks to sort of just ongoing concerns regarding planning level decisions relating to habitat and species protection and watershed management. I think some of the information provided during the meeting from GRCA is encouraging, because what I saw in the report that was posted prior to the meeting had absolutely no comments and raised some major concerns. So a few of the questions that I have pertain to that, and I look forward to reviewing that documentation from GRCA following the meeting. The last time I appeared before committee, this committee had questions relating to the Hamilton Township's official plan, specifically supporting sustainability in the natural environment and resources, but also in terms of Hamilton Township is putting in place to uphold the Oak Ridges Moraine Act. So I just draw your attention to that first attachment that I sent. Apologies, I can't share my my screen here, but based on the Hamilton ZB-A-1 map, which I include an excerpt for you, this area is included within the environmentally sensitive area. So although it's in a settlement zone, it is also an environmentally sensitive area, and is home, along there to marsh and wetland and water course, as was indicated. Now, the application also seems to have changed from what we received as a public notice. So I realized B16 was removed, which is more in terms of that water course, but the comments I have still pertain to that. So I guess my first question is, what measures are Township of Hamilton going to put into place to protect this environmentally sensitive area in the context of these severances, or this severance?
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Thank you. The applicant did speak with GRCA prior to submitting this application, and you'll note that the borders of both proposed lots, when there was 2 lots, are south of the water course. The blue line on the illustration that I gave out is illustrative of the water course in the area. So it won't be directly impacted. As you say, this is an environmentally sensitive area. There is land around each water course that is identified as being environmentally sensitive. Our zoning bylaw currently prohibits development, site alteration within an ESA without the express written permission of the GRCA. So should the new owner of the property wish to put their tool shed in the back corner, GRCA will have opportunity to make comment on that. And it might not be able to go right in the back corner where the new person may want it. It may have to be put more central into the property. But that's a future question for the future property owner.
So just to summarize that answer, you're relying exclusively on GRCA to enforce that?
And our zoning bylaw.
Okay, so I guess my concern is just, what are your planning provisions to support the strategic planning objectives, which is to uphold the Oak Ridges Moraine Act? Like, if
this
you're
property
deferring
is not
that,
within the Oak Ridges Moraine, so I didn't review that at all.
but it's environmentally sensitive zone defined by that mapping, right? I guess my concern, maybe I'm not trying to be oblique, like my concern is that GRCA does not appear, their mandate seems to have shifted, based on provincial level decisions, to not as focused on protecting species and habitat. And so I think the onus does fall to the township level to, to take that up as part of their responsibility.
Sandra, just a little bit of clarity, if I might. Just
Sure.
confirmation, this property is outside of the Oak Ridges Moraine,
Correct.
okay?
So I
then-
did not review anything in the Oak Ridges Moraine regarding this property. It was not required.
Understood.
Yeah. With respect to changes to the mandate of the Conservation Authority, I have heard a few things, very, very, very few things that may be changing later on this year. I can only go by what the GRCA has said to me now, and I've read that letter out. And they had no objections to the proposed new lots, to either new lot going in, in fact. So I can only rely on what they've said to me now in writing. If and when any changes do come forward with respect to their mandate, I'm sure they will be in touch with us so that we can make whatever modifications to our regulations that are necessary to ensure that the current level of protection is maintained or surpassed.
Okay, so I guess the root of the concern here is that when I've appeared before this committee, previously GRCA indicated that it was the township level that would have to mandate environmental impact study, and at the same time, I'm hearing that from the township yourself that it is GRCA that mandates it. So it feels like it's not catch-22, but the inverse. Like, what's the trigger? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Environmental impact studies, if I may, Mr. Chairman, environmental impact studies are usually triggered when the proposal is within a significant woodlot, for example, and there isn't a significant woodlot identified on the parent property.
But
it's
that
just
mapping indicates an environmentally sensitive zone, right?
And that in itself, Sandra, would not trigger an environmental impact study.
correct. You're correct, Mr. Chairman.
It would, however, though, be reviewed by the Conservation Authority, and the establishment of an ESA line on the rezoning application would definitely take place.
Well, it wouldn't be moved. When I write the bylaw with respect to the new UR1 zone for the new lot, my bylaw will say any existing ESA boundary will remain. So we're not removing it, we're not changing it.
So then the question is there a building envelope outside of the existing ESA on this proposed 1720, sorry.
Based on the information from the Conservation Authority, I would say there is. I do realize from attachment 1, the zoning bylaw diagram, that it does look to be very, very small. The ESA does look to be very wide. It is illustrative. It says to me, whoa, stop, wait a minute, look into this further when a building permit comes forward. But this will be something that the GRCA will be looking at when a building permit comes forward. They didn't seem to think there was any problems. I'll just quickly look at their letter again.
Yeah, and I think my later questions will address that disparity. Like, it appears that there are different, the mapping, the sketch that was provided as part of the public notice shows the water course well north of the Severance. The zoning bylaw mapping shows it well within the Severance. And then I did an overlay, if you flip to attachment 3, that, and again, it's not a direct fit. I mean, I did this, with PowerPoint, but I did an overlay just to try to see where does this water course, occur. And, the takeaway here is I think the mapping's inaccurate. And so really my questions are around how do we make sure that through the course of development that's addressed and anticipated. And as I said at the outset, what I saw in the report had nothing from GRCA. I'm heartened to hear that there is some commentary there from GRCA.
If I can step in.
Sure.
When I talked to the GRCA, they said they were fine with the lot as long as I stayed 12 meters away from the back water course. And that's where the lots are laid out, 12 meters away.
Okay.
Thanks,
He-
Larry.
He
Jordan,
agreed to it as long as the back lot line stayed 12 meters away from the water course, he had no problem with it. And that's exactly the way the lots are shown.
Okay, so the question I have, and I don't know, Larry, if you saw these attachments, but the water course itself arcs and doesn't just run sort of perpendicular to or parallel to Jib Road. And so does that setback then, you're saying that translates over on the left side as well, or how's that treated?
That waterway that's showing on the left side of that lot is not a water course. All that is a crossing culvert from the township's roads. That is not in the GRCA. That's just something that's drawn in there. That is just a crossing culvert that the water runs through from the other side of the road.
Yeah, you're talking about what would have been between the two severances, right? B16 and B17. Yeah. No, I understand that, but the actual course itself does quite an arc, right, as it wraps into the neighbors there.
Yes, it does. If you can see the dark, well, you can see where the blue line is, but if you follow that tree line, is actually where the water course is. And this lot that is showing its back onto the water course, it's not. It's actually 12 meters away from that water course.
Okay, yeah, and I think what surprised me when I downloaded the report is that B16 came out, and so with just B17 being the application, it's clearer to me how that would just be that northern portion, right? That's more perpendicular to it. So I appreciate that clarification. The other question I just have is in regards to the source water protection zone, and I realize there's setbacks there with 100 meters and such. You know, to me, that seems like it would be based on overland flow, and you'd expect a certain amount of filtration as a result of that. In this case, with the water course there that then feeds into the creek, you know, is there any sort of consideration that Hamilton Township's going to do to making sure that any additional runoff or any flows aren't going to impact the creek and, you know, the downstream, you know, wellhead? And it's personal for me because my shallow well is just downstream from this, not far. And so I'm just curious what provisions might be in place in terms of the development for that.
Sandra, I'll turn that back to you, but my knee-jerk thoughts, by the way, Scott here, if you can't tell the voice, but my knee-jerk thought, Sandra, is site plan control at the time of development, building permit stage.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was going to say that when someone comes in for a building permit, staff review the current lay of the land, the current topography, together with the proposed final topography to ensure that there will be no negative impacts to the surrounding neighbors.
And in this particular case, with Mr. Hogendam describing, and I think quite accurately so, the potential water flow to the stream, the Conservation Authority would be involved again. Is that correct?
Yes, the conservation will be looking at everything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. No, thanks for that clarification, because in the way the report was written, it seemed to imply because there's a lot of dwellings upstream that adding one more is okay. And I'm not saying it isn't, I'm just saying that it's a loading factor, right? We already have to do additional filtration because of what we're getting down the stream. And again, that's, you know, that's the nature of where we are.
What I believe I was saying was that the addition of one more lot 100 meters away from the wellhead protection area wouldn't have any impact on the wellhead protection area. That wellhead protection area is for those customers in Camborne who are on municipal water.
Oh no, I realize that. Yeah, and my well is actually just across the creek from the wellhead for Camborne, and so that's why I get it more directly. I don't have, you know, I don't have municipal filtration because on this side of the creek. And so the question was just, you know, if you're going to be putting in a dwelling, you're going to be putting in a septic, and given the history of high water levels in this space, just to make sure that that's being considered. And it sounds like it is. If there's going to be a stormwater management plan and you're going to be having site plan control on the placement of that septic, then you know, that's good to hear.
Thank you, Jordan. Anything further for clarification, Jordan?
Yeah, I was just curious, and maybe Larry can comment on this, in terms of GRCA talking about modifications to the fabric, and that's a quote they have in there, of the land. I mean, are they talking about fill, or what are they referring to there? Do you know?
Sandra, we'll kick that to you first if you can answer that, or if not, maybe we might get the applicant to answer that.
Modifications to the fabric usually indicate new lot lines going in or lot lines being changed, such as the new lot going in. So the property fabric itself, if you will, a patchwork quilt is what I want to compare the development of Camborne to, in that there's patches of this and patches of that, and adding one more patch to this fabric is how we're going to be modifying the fabric.
So it's
Thank
not
you.
referring to surface conditions at all.
No, not with respect to fabric. That's never been my interpretation.
Okay, because the concern I have is, and it's not, you know, directly related to this single application, but I've seen a number of severances in the township over the last 5 years in lots that I was actually frankly quite surprised to see, just given the amount of fill that had to be brought in, the marsh and the wetland that had to be backfilled essentially to support those developments. There's a number of them along County Road 18, and I was just again curious, you know, how is the township dealing with that and looking at that? Because sure, you can bring a site up, you can do tile drainage, you can backfill, but at what point are you guys drawing the line to say this is not an appropriate place to develop? And I should say that in this application, I appreciate the infill nature, and I think that is, if it's done properly, that is an important consideration. But in general, it leaves me concerned when it's impacting the waterways this way.
Okay, moving on, because we should deal in specifics with this application rather than general. Sorry, Jordan, with that.
That's okay.
But
I have one last question that's specific.
Very
If you
well.
look at attachment 3 and the variation in terms of the water course, I'm just curious what sort of steps will be taken in terms of ensuring that the mapping's accurate, that the placement's accurate. I know there was a change with B16 being removed because of dimensions, and I guess I'm just curious about that, how that's picked up within the process, because and I think it's important to understand that, because after this, there's no public view or oversight of what the plan is going to be, right? So,
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
please.
One of the conditions that would be imposed on the applicant would be the submission of a reference plan, which is a surveyed identification of the new lot lines. So we would know for sure where everything was with respect to existing lot lines. It might be, I'm just going to quickly review, committee may wish to add a condition that the reference plan illustrates the existing water course on the parent property for another level of comfort. And then when this does come back to council in the future for the zoning amendment will be based on the information in the deposited reference plan. So it's what's coming forward here today is admittedly an illustration, a hope and a wish. It is not an accurate diagram, and I've never purported it to be accurate. I am not a surveyor. And Mr. Bowman, the applicant, is not a surveyor. This was drawn to the best of everybody's ability. When we do stamp the deed at the end of the day, it will be based on the information in the professionally drawn reference plan by an Ontario land surveyor. The zoning bylaw, again, will be based on the reference plan. So I do appreciate your concerns based on the non-professional illustrations in front of you. They do cause concern to me as well, but I also know that this is the proposal. It's not the actual final document. Everything will be based on the reference plan that will be deposited as one of the conditions of consent.
I fully appreciate that.
The survey that you speak of in the reference plan, again, is followed by an OLS design and site plan and conservation authority approval, as well as site plan authority approval. So there is a tie-in and the link there between our application and the actual location of buildings.
No, I appreciate that. I guess what I wanted to just get clarified is whether the water course will be part of that survey, because there is this disparity, and I realize it's a sketch, right? So it was just meant to illustrate that question.
No, it will not.
Say,
The survey will be 12 meters away from the water course, all the way along.
the rear lot line, Larry.
The real lot line, when we get
Yeah.
a survey, will show it 12 meters away from the water course. There'll be no part of that lot that's going to be on the water course.
Thank you, Larry.
Great. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. The last question I have, and I appreciate your patience with me, my questions here. Just in terms of the overall application, is there a residence on this property currently?
I'm not aware of one. I would like to defer
No.
that to Mr. Bowman.
No, there's no residence on this property.
Yeah, so the severance in 06 took what would have been the original residence on it. So I'm going to ask a dumb question here. Why not just, why do a severance? Why have to go through all the rezoning of the parent property as well? Why not just build on it as is?
Pardon, that's the request and the wishes of the applicant. I don't know that we need to know any further than that. This committee's decision is to ensure compliance with regulations, which we try to do. And the wishes and the desires of the applicant is theirs, not necessarily of any value to the committee.
Okay, yeah, I guess my question just is maybe more specifically, by doing the severance, you are creating on the parent property now a special zoning that has to happen. And I guess the concern is, what's that zoning going to be when it's done? Is it still going to be marginal agriculture, or is it being rezoned to something else that would facilitate additional development?
Sandra, please.
It would be my intent to have the parent zone, the remnant property, still be a marginal agricultural zone. It will have a specialized provision with respect to the reduced road frontage, but it'll still be a marginal ag zone.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to the application in respect to clarification?
Hi there. Yeah, sorry, it's Glenn Whiting calling in here. My wife and I, Lori, live right beside the application for the lot there. We live at 8190. And although we don't really have any objections with the severance as well too, we do have concerns about the drainage as well too. Now, we had submitted an email to Sandra with our concerns and stuff like that. That wasn't. We were under the impression it was going to be read at this meeting, and we have not heard it yet. So
I do apologize. Yes, I can look for that now.
Well, we did. It's just that we took the time to, to draft it up, and you said it was going to be read at this meeting. But because one of our concerns is obviously because just the main thing is the drainage. We know there's going to be a lot of fill that has to be put in that lot beside us, and we just want to make sure that the township or whoever is responsible, that there's going to be adequate drainage that doesn't come onto to the property.
If it pleases the committee, I will read the Whiting email.
Please, Sandra, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for our notification of the Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for January 12, 2001 regarding the application to sever at 8176 Jib Road in the village of Camborne. We would like to register for the virtual Zoom meeting. Please note we have no objection whatsoever to the severance as proposed of the two residential building lots at this location. We do, however, wish to identify our concerns that a proper and effective drainage plan be fully developed prior to the issuance of any building permit on the subject land. Our property at 8190 Jib Road sits immediately east of the lot proposed as B1720. Although we were not involved in any way in the original severance planning of our property 25 plus years ago, we purchased it as a building lot several months later, it is our understanding that guidance for drainage and water diversion was designed by the Township Planning Department at that time and implemented as per that guidance by the original owner of the property. After our home was built in 1996, it quickly became apparent that the drainage design was not properly effective. This may in some part have been compounded by short-lived specific township requirements of the time for double septic bed space on any new residential build that resulted in there being very limited space within our lot where a house could actually be placed. These regulations were later dropped, but in our case, the property was permanently impacted. Because of intermittent but ongoing issues with excessive drainage onto our property, particularly during the spring thaw, the Bowman family was kind enough to permit us to perform some excavation along the eastern side of our property line. These measures helped a great deal, but did not fully resolve the matter of simply too much runoff water accumulating on the east, rear, and front ditch portions of our property. Should township staff wish to discuss our experiences or visit our property for more information, this is welcome at any time. Since the proposed severed lots will be developed with residential homes, it is possible that a substantial amount of fill may be required at each. We would formally request that the matter of sufficient drainage be fully examined and reviewed by the township and properly corrected. Again, we have no objection to the severance nor residential development of the properties. We simply wish to ensure that this ongoing nuisance problem is properly remedied permanently for the benefit of not only our own home, but for the families who will build on these newly created lots. Sincerely, Lori and Glenn Whiting.
Glenn or Lori, I'll go back to yourselves. Would you like to follow up at this point in time?
Follow up with what, Scott?
Further comment?
No, I think it's all self-explanatory. Like I say, we just want to make sure that, there's not going to be any further drainage issues. The property itself is very, very heavy clay, and the drainage is already poor enough, and it's flat land. So we've had issues in previous years with even our the culvert, the drain running in front of our property, that we have to call the township to come and help thaw out and clear out the drain, the culvert, so we have proper flow going down past our road.
Ben, just one comment, and certainly my history. Site plan control was implemented after your home would have been built to address these exact concerns. And our site plan committee exists today and reviews the development of each and every residential lot. Sandra, do you have anything further?
I don't at the moment. No, thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Is there anyone else there wishing to speak to this application for clarification? I hear a bit of noise, but it may be from someone's other part of their home. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this application? I'll turn to the committee members, who I cannot see any of right now on my screen. So let's do it. Bill, any comments or questions?
None, thank you.
Pat, any questions or comments?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Mark, questions or comments?
No, I'm good, thank you. And if you need a motion, I'd entertain a motion when needed.
Well, I'd like to get to Larry, just to give him that opportunity, if I could, Mark.
Yeah.
Larry, questions or comments?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Mark, I'll come back to you. You seem to be a half a step ahead of us there, so I'll come back to you.
I'd put forward a motion to grant the application as presented. And I also would like to thank all those residents that asked the questions. I think they got their answers they were looking for, and hopefully they're satisfied.
That's Bill. I'll second both of those.
Okay, it's been moved It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote on the motion. Bill, I'll go to you, please.
Yay.
Pat,
Yay.
Mark,
Yay.
Larry.
Yay.
Very well, motion passes. Reasoning from the mover and seconder, I believe are in order. Sandra?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Agency reports were all positive, and really the comments from the public, as much as there was mainly questions, I think they were mainly supportive. So really there was no negativity to deny the application. So
Thank you.
Bill, you were the seconder. Any?
Yeah, those are
items?
the same two things I jotted down.
Very
Thank
well.
you.
Larry, at this point in time, I would normally turn to any applicant, as I am to you right now, and saying, obviously, this is provisional consent approval. There are items that you need to comply with. You will be receiving notification of the decision of the committee. There is an appeal process, as you well know in your past, before the application is final or the conditional approval is granted. You will also have conditions that you will need to fulfill. Any questions on any of those can be addressed by our township staff, and in particular, Sandra Stothart.
Okay, thanks.
Sandra, anything further on this application then?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Sorry, Scott, I had one question. It's Jordan here. I was just wondering, is it possible a copy of the GRCA letter that Sandra read?
Jordan, we've heard your question. It's kind of out of order to ask and answer right now, but Sandra, could you acknowledge that and get that for the Jordan, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, there's your answer, Jordan.
If you could write to me and ask for it specifically, then I can write back.
Yep, will do.
And writing in this case is emailing, right, Sandra?
Or a letter can be dropped in our Dropbox, the left
Thank
side
you.
of the main door.
Thank you. Any other business?
I have none.
Any other business from any committee members?
Scott, if I could,
Yes, please, Mark.
question for Sandra. How, I know these applications require our signatures. How is that? Is there a time limit on those or not?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
You know how the committee members normally sign for the sign the
Oh, the
application?
decision page.
Yes.
Yes, I have to put the decision page out within 15 days. So I do request that committee members let me know when they are available, and we can make arrangements to have you sign the decision page.
Can they be scanned to us and we could scan them back, or can that be done?
Probably. Yeah, we can probably work something out. I'll just double check how to do that with senior staff, but we can make this work.
Okay, thank you.
Sandra, I'll end with a joke and a smile here for everybody. Sandra, just call me when they're available. It would take me less time to drive to your place than it would be to scan and scan back.
I hear you.
You can skip me on the scans too, Sandra. Same ditto, same reasons. I'll be in the office at least a couple times during the week, so I'll sign them when I'm in there.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Anything further, Sandra, or a motion for adjournment is in order?
I've got nothing further, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Could I have a committee member move adjournment, please?
I'll move.
Larry was waving his hand.
Okay, sounds like Pat wants to second that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chairman, would you please note the time?
Yeah, well, I can't actually do that. Can somebody feed me that? It's
That's
not that I can't
3:12.
tell time, though.
I got 3:12.
3:12 p.m. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.